Fox News is the most watched cable news network in the United States, and it has an extreme conservative bias, even though they claim to be fair and balanced.
Well, say you're a cocaine dealer, and you kind of look like one a little bit.
Fox News' obvious conservative bias has made it nearly impossible for them to host presidential debates for the DNC. Many of the major candidates for the Democratic nominee for president have refused to appear on the network's debates, forcing the network to cancel them altogether. Fox has become such a powerful conservative force. A former speechwriter for George W. Bush once said, "Republicans originally thought that Fox worked for us, and now we're discovering we work for Fox." Rupert Murdoch, who is the owner of Fox News, has also been subject to controversy. A famous BBC newsman said of Murdoch, "There is no one person more responsible for the pollution of what was already a fairly polluted press." Murdoch recently tweeted that if Ben Carson were elected president, he would be a real black president. Fox and Friends can take credit for spouting conspiracy theories about Obama's religion. They were doing it way before Donald Trump made it cool. In 2012, the show aired a 4-minute video attacking Obama's record as president, which was really just a political attack ad lightly veiled as journalism. The New York Times once reported that some of the executives at Fox were embarrassed by the show, but it continues to be one of their highest rated programs. Fox and Friends was even caught citing a spoof news website that claimed that President Obama offered to pay out of his own pocket for a museum of Muslim culture.
President Obama has offered to pay out of his own pocket for the Museum of Muslim Culture out of his own pocket.
And when I say spoof news site, I am not referring to foxnews.com. According to PolitiFact, 56 of the stories and over 100 statements made on Fox and Friends were false. Fox has also used some slogans over the past 15 years that can only be described as laughable, such as their slogan, "Fair and Balanced." The CEO of Fox News is a guy named Roger Ailes. He was a key consultant for many Republican presidents, including Nixon, Reagan, and Bush #1. But you know, fair and balanced. Ailes has a well-known quote that I think pretty much sums up his thoughts on how news should work. If you have two guys on a stage and one guy says, "I have a solution to the Middle East problem," and the other guy falls in the orchestra pit, who do you think is going to be on the evening news? Ailes is also accused in Bob Woodward's book, Bush at War, for influencing Bush's reaction to 9/11, saying that America would be patient as long as they thought Bush was using the harshest measures possible. Most of Fox News' rhetoric is dictated by its executives. Their VP of News, John Moody, is notorious for sending out memos that explain in detail how the news staff should approach certain stories, as explained in the documentary Outfoxed.
The memoranda that were written by John Moody.
Every morning, there was a detailed list of subjects to talk about, not talk about.
Larry Johnson, a former Fox News contributor, describes Moody's memos as talking points instructing us what the themes are supposed to be, and God help you if you stray. A former producer for Fox News has spoken out against these memos, saying, "The roots of Fox News channel's day-to-day on-air bias are actual and direct. They come in the form of an executive memo distributed electronically each morning, addressing what stories will be covered and often suggesting how they should be covered. The memo is the Bible. If, on any given day, you notice that the Fox anchors seem to be trying to drive a particular point home, you can bet the memo is behind it." Another memo from Bill Salmon was leaked that explained how the news staff should talk about Obamacare. He said that they should use the term government option instead of public option, and if they had to say public option, they should qualify it with the phrase so-called.
And you think the
Hasn't been thought out.
You think the Affordable Care Act is a better plan than Obamacare?
Better, but I'm not happy with that either.
Fox was also caught editing anchor Shepard Smith's Wikipedia page, removing that he had been arrested. Fox seems to have a real love for manipulating videos and pictures to make people look bad. They did this to 2 New York Times reporters. They made goofy pictures of these two for 2 reasons. They pointed out what they called ominous trends in Fox News ratings, and the producers of Fox and Friends have the maturity of 8-year-olds. Oh, and also, they showed a picture of them photoshopped onto a poodle and a person walking the poodle. Fox took out a full-page ad in the Washington Post that read, "How did ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, and CNN miss this story?" accompanied by a picture of Tea Partiers protesting on the Capitol lawn. Not only did all of these other networks cover the story, but the picture they used was actually taken from a CNN broadcast covering the protest. There were so many examples of Fox News editing footage to make certain people look good or bad, it would be impossible to go through them all. Jon Stewart tried this for over 15 years, and it almost drove him insane. On the show Hannity, they tried to make it seem like a universal healthcare protest had a bigger turnout than it actually did. They claimed there were up to 45,000 people when it was really closer to 10,000. They didn't just use tricky angles or clever shots from the actual rally, they used footage from Glenn Beck's rally that was 2 months earlier. This was made obvious by the sky becoming suddenly cloudy and the trees changing from fall colors to green between shots.